Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Amplified server, and I've done pretty much nothing in between episodes. As you can see here, not much has changed. However, we've got a few mobs spawning on the tiny amounts of grass around the outside, and I've barely been logged in since I logged off after recording last episode, so it's a sign of things going to be good over here, I think. But first of all, we're going to answer a few questions from the comments. Tons of comments about the project that we're doing. So first of all, squids, you can see them in the area. They have their own little mob cap. They do not contribute to the passive mob cap. So building out here on this island is absolutely fine. The other reason that we're building on an island is because we need the island biome. So there you can go. It says plains. That's where a lot of the passive mobs are going to spawn. Another thing I want to mention is that we talked about this thing being called Chocolate Island as a reference to EFO, and many of you pointed out the reason that EFO made his Chocolate Island was to make a passive mob farm. So my memory's not so great. It kind of makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, that we've ended up doing something similar and it's for the same reason. So all of that makes good sense. The other thing that I want to mention is that when we're on the world right now, the only chunks that are loaded are the spawn chunks and these ones right here. If someone else logs in, then they'll load up their area and this thing will become less effective. So we have to use it when we're the only person on the server, basically. And last of all, I still get a few comments about this every single episode. Yes, I do not have, a full set of diamond armor. Here's the reason why. When you get attacked and you get hit, your armor takes some damage, and then that means over time you got to repair it. So if I have full diamond armor, it means I'm going to take less damage, but I've also got to use more diamonds over time every time I repair my armor, right? So that's the reason that I just have diamond boots and some other little derpy bits thrown on as well. So anyway, this episode we're mostly going to be spending our time in a creative world, and that's one, not on this server, just a little world that I'm going to make for us to do some testing, because we need to design the farm and design a few things about it. And I just got prepped up to go and get some materials. I put all of the things in my ender chest into this chest right here, and then I realised what I do not want to be doing is spending a lot of time travelling back and forth across our rail in the Nether. So I think it would be smarter if I were to actually do my testing on a creative world as opposed to over here, because we've got to go through a few different design ideas and then suss out the materials that we need to build this. So I'm going to make a new world, we're going to hop over there and we're going to start designing this farm. So welcome to our temporary creative world. As you can see, it's very chocolatey. I built the entire thing out of dirt, and when I say I built, yes, I have placed every single block here myself. No, that's a joke. Anyway, let's go over some of the designs that we could use in this farm. And I've already got a good idea of which one I'm going to use. It's probably the one down the ends there, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. So I've been going over some ideas in my head the past week or so when we've been working on this project, and there's a few things I know we're definitely not going to do, and it's actually a design I came up with which I thought we'd end up using, but something else has happened since then. Anyway, let's go over these one by one. So here's the sort of design we don't want to use. If this was a grass block, when a mob spawns it gets pushed off. Very resource heavy. I don't think horses will spawn here, and pigs as well are one high, so they won't get pushed off. So this instantly is a bad idea and one that we're not going to go with. Now the next one is to have platforms, and you can stack these one above each other, and they will simply flush the mobs out into a channel at the end where we can collect them all. Now one way you could do that is with dispensers, which is going to cost a lot of time and resources to craft, and also they have this problem which is usually caused by server lag or something like that, where let's say all of these don't get powered again at the same time, they could end up creating a source block if, let's say, the one in the middle gets removed, and then that causes all sorts of trouble, because when there's water in front, you can see here it kind of breaks the system. Apparently it doesn't. I could have swore when there was water in front of it, it would have chucked a water bucket out. Maybe that's like an old thing from one of the older versions, and it's been fixed and I haven't noticed it. Either way, we're not going with that design. So let's look at the next one. This is the much more common one for when setting up water sliding out over some land. Now you might use this to harvest crops, or you might be pushing mobs off a platform. It's usually done like this. Now the mobs can only spawn in these spaces here, and you can see that that is 6 blocks across. I was actually sort of marking out the distance with these white blocks. So there you can see they appear every 3. So 6 blocks across, and I thought we can make that a little bit effective, because initially this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to have platforms with rows of pistons holding back water. In front of it we would have grass, and then the water would flow out once some passive mobs had spawned. So over here I thought a way we can make that a little bit more effective is by having the piston extended but down like so. So you can see here that we have 7 spaces in total. And then when we unpower this, the water is going to drop down into the space where the piston head was, and then it's going to flow out. And I especially like this because you don't end up with downwards flowing water where the mob could have spawned. So if you have downwards flowing water directly where a pig spawned, it's not tall enough to have its head in the water above, and that means it just drowns and dies, which is not really that great. We're not trying to kill the mobs when they're in the spawning area. We want to get them down to like a collection point. So I was going to go with this design. I like the idea of using loads of pistons. Sometimes it's really fun to build loads of redstone pistons and technical stuff, but there is a farm design over here, and we'll actually talk about that in a second because we've got one more thing to talk about. Here's another thing you could do with dispensers. You could have bigger platforms and you could have a channel like this, and I'm personally not a fan of this. You would have to make it a little bit bigger. It's probably quite likely that horses could get stuck across these blocks, but you know, all you got to do is move it back by 1 block. But I'm not particularly a fan of the channel, although I've got to say it's a clever design. It's quite resource efficient in terms of how many dispensers you're going to be using. But then my friend Nembom MC, he put out a video, and it's a really good one, and highly recommend checking it out, where he came up with a new passive mob farm design, and it's really great because it uses so little resources and gives you tons and tons of spawning space, and the whole thing is extremely efficient and simple to set up. Now, I've sort of done this incorrectly here, and I'm going to break what you see here. So with some redstone torches going up, you can send a signal upwards to manipulate the dispensers, which dispense the water. Now I put this in the wrong space. That's actually supposed to be over there, and let's fill in that gap. It's supposed to be on the corner because then the water still flows out all the way over here. So where I had it before, it doesn't quite flow out all the way on that side, but if you do it on the diagonal, it's still just fine. So then what we would have is over here a second platform, so we could remove these blocks, the water would flow over the edge, and we could start an even bigger platform around the edge here, which would look extremely good. And it's a really clever design. So picture multiple floors of these, you know, stacked up. You could have a massive cylinder of a farm, and then you send the redstone signal. All the water gets dispensed in the middle from a single dispenser on each floor, and it flows out, and it's going to push out all the mobs all the way to the end. Now the only downside to this one, I think, is that the water is going to, or sorry, the animals are going to flow out across the water relatively slow because they're going to have further to travel. But considering the amount of spawn spaces this thing is going to give you, it's really not a hassle. And also the other downside is that the mobs are all going to sort of land on the outside, so at the bottom you'll have to build like a big collection area to shuffle them down to a single point. Now the design I was thinking about building, what we'd simply do is take this design, we would have like a 3 wide trench in the middle, we would mirror the design on the other side, and then we could expand the width of it, you know, as far as we liked in one direction, and we could stack it on top of each other multiple times, and then all of the animals would fall into a single channel that goes in a single direction and takes them to a single point. So I do like that design, and do you know what? I'm going to go with Nembom's design because I think it's going to end up looking pretty spectacular, and it's a new farm design. It's not too often people come up with these in this day and age in Minecraft where we haven't had. So basically in the last 2 years we've had one update, which is 1.8, so there hasn't been too much innovation, and this is some of it. And by the way, we got squid spawning here, which is absolutely hilarious. I think I already said it in this video, the squids don't contribute to the passive mob cap. So here we go, this is going to be absolutely bonkers. Look at this thing right here, and look at all of the mobs on it. Crazy stuff. This is what it could be like with maximum efficiency, which is kind of what we have in this world here, because this is the only space that they'll be able to spawn. And although we've taken all the steps to try and guarantee that, on the actual server it's a lot tougher than it seems sometimes. Anyway, let's talk about this design. So this thing is 43 blocks from side to side. We're going to end up building a structure around it, so that's going to be even bigger because we're going to need a channel at the edge for the mobs to fall down into. So we're going to start off by building this on the server, and when it comes to building the channel down below, all of that should be fairly straightforward, so I don't think there's any need to build it in this test world. Yeah, but anyway, 43 blocks across, that's 9,000 spawning spaces across the 10 floors, or just around 9,000, which is a crazy amount. And another thing I want to mention, because I've been watching Nembob's video, he talks about the spacing of the glowstone here. When there's water flowing over the grass, the ones from above, because it's not too thick, it's just one thick, so the glowstone affects above and below, it's enough light to keep all of the water from turning the grass into dirt, which I thought was really cool. So that's a nice little feature. Anyway, let's activate this thing. It could cause a fair bit of lag because we're going to have a lot of flowing water. Let's hit the switch. And of course nothing happens. Why would nothing happen? I think I know why, actually. Oh, no. They all... Wait a minute. I've missed out on something here on the design, because that's diagonal to that. That's not going to do anything. Was I supposed to attach, let me guess, a redstone torch on the underside? So let's go down to the bottom floor. If we attach one here... Yeah, and it's going to power it, so we don't get to do this all at once. Oh, that's a shame. We have to do it one by one, but there you go. The animals are flowing out. They'll then drop down into the stream. And I'm not sure if this is how Nembom did it. I'll have to go watch his video again, but that seems like the logical thing to do, right? So we can just hop in here and do that on each floor, and then it's going to shuffle all of the animals out. Right, so let's finish... Oh, apparently I missed one here. Or did I? This one then I must have missed? Yeah, we did. Okay, so let's attach all of those redstone torches, and then let's just give it a quick test to make sure that we've done all of the redstone correctly. Please don't ask questions about the lava down here. No, nothing terrible happens. Let's get rid of all of this water. Now, when I was doing this, I noticed something. It seems like... Oh yeah, we're going to have to hit it twice. It seemed like... Let's do that. It seemed like some of the animals were taking damage on their way through. So as the water disappears here, we may get lucky enough to see some mobs spawning immediately, or it may take a little bit longer. We've got some squid that are still alive, but of course that's from the water. Okay, so we'll give it a little bit of time and we'll let some passive mobs spawn. There you go, we've got a sheep down the bottom there. And a pig as well. Oh, and quite a few things actually. Okay, let's get a whole bunch of mobs spawned on here and then we'll do a test. Okay, so this floor here in the middle is the one we want to pay attention to. We have two horses at the very top. Okay, there we go. Where are the horses? There you are. Okay, taking damage. Yeah, this is what I suspected. Now, this might be a mistake that I've made with the distance between each of the floors. I will, of course, go and double-check that. But you saw there they took damage, and it's just the horses and the cows that I've seen take damage. And they seem to survive. It's just, as you saw there, if they're in the middle ones, they get pushed into these blocks here and those ones there, but they come out alive, which is kind of okay, I guess. If you want to use the horses, this is a good way, of course, of getting some fast horses. Then you're going to have to... Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, dear. Yeah, you're going to have to heal them up, of course, if you want to use them, because they would have taken some damage after spawning here. Anyway, I'll go and double check it, and I think now we're going to hop back onto the actual world. One last thing that I want to mention is that I like the size of this thing, but I think when we build it on Hermitcraft, we should make it a little bit taller. So we're probably going to add another 5 layers. Did I activate that twice? I don't think I did. Yeah, we'll add another 5 layers, and then that'll be 15 in total. Alright, we're back from my base with some supplies, and it turns out, after emptying out my ender chest, that actually the only thing I really needed to bring over here was some glowstone and dispensers. Now, we've got some redstone here as well, but obviously we've got a stack in the chest right there. So the other thing that we need to do is build around the farm, and I think when it comes to that bit, I'm going to wait until we're at that point before I decide what materials we need. We also need to slab all of this island, and I thought, hey, we could just make a pattern out of some stone slabs, some stone brick slabs, and then some cobblestone slabs. So we kind of got everything that we need already here. Now we're putting down some slabs on the island in the bits that we don't use, so mobs don't spawn at them at night, and of course that'll get rid of this grass, or at least prevent mobs from spawning on it. So that's something that we're going to do after we actually start building this thing. And where I'm going to put it, probably somewhere in the middle, probably right where that beacon is, which means it's going to have to go. So this must have taken about 15 minutes to put together, and we've got another 14 levels of this to go. However, I feel like the next few levels are going to be a lot easier. So as I was building this, I was trying to create... Oh, apparently I've missed a bit over here. I was trying to create a little bit of a technique, sort of going across and counting and putting a grass block every so often and then a glowstone block in the correct place. That's something I'll have to do, is double check that they're all correct. Okay, now it's complete. Yeah, and then I sort of realised that it's going to be a lot easier to build the next levels because it's only a little bit above us, so we can stand down here as we build it, plus we can see where the glowstone goes and where the edges are because we're like placing them directly above us. So we're going to put our redstone on slabs like this. That's the block that I chose. So up here we have some more of this going on. I think we have one there, then there'll be a grass block here, and the dispenser is next to it, right? That looks about right. I will of course double check that before we get too far into this, and let's grab those and start placing them. So although I'm up here, what we're going to do is drop down below, and it should be really easy now. Yeah, it's not too far at all, so I can come out to the edge here, I can place this all the way above me, and same again with the glowstone. I can bring it down by one, come out here, I can stand on the glowstone and place it directly above me. Okay, so I think this next level is going to be a lot quicker to build than the last one, so I'll give it a shot, and I reckon it will be quicker, but I'll time myself and see. Alright, it feels like time's flying by, but apparently not. It took me 20 minutes to build that, and it is definitely quicker than the floor at the bottom. And I fell when I was making this thing. I fell off, landed on the ground, lost all my levels that I'd saved up. That's actually twice that I've done that. Got tons and tons of XP, come over here, and then died before I got the chance or, you know, the need to use it. Anyway, I'm thinking what's next is a time lapse, and it's just going to be me building all of these floors, but I don't know how many floors I'm going to build in the time lapse at the moment because it takes 20 minutes to do each one by the looks of it, and that's going to take a long time overall. So yeah, let's just start fading into some music and let's enjoy a time lapse. So there we go. Can you count? Can you count how many floors there are in total? It's not 15. If you can do maths, I've got 3 dispensers left behind. That's right, I only went for 12. It has taken me a seriously long time to record all of this. And then I was thinking, do you know what? It's not just like recording as in building each floor, but then you've got to go and like do the replay mod stuff and then edit it together in a time lapse. And so it takes up a fair amount of time. It's near the end of the day for me now, and I need to wrap things up, I guess. So we've got the bulk of the farm done, but the disappointing thing is that not a single passive mob has spawned yet, which makes me think we might be heading back to the spawn chunks to do some more work over there. Now I know it's cruel, and people, it's just a game. Look away, I'm sorry. But you gotta go, Piggy, because we are not getting enough spawns up there, and I know there's a couple of mobs around the edge. In fact, there was a cow I saw over here, and that thing's gone missing. It was hanging out on the left-hand side with the pig, so I don't know where the cow went, and I should probably get rid of this grass already. Maybe that's one last thing we'll do before I wrap this up. And over here we got some rabbits. Again, look away, it's cruel, I know. It's just a game. Oh, it is bad, I know. Killing these poor, cute, adorable rabbits. I'm sorry. Soon you'll be farmed and and butchered as well. Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Okay, so I think that's the most of it. I don't know where that cow went, but I've got a feeling it might have wandered into the portal. And we are, I'm not, I mean, I can't really see all of the floors, can I? But we'll take another journey back up the ladder and have a look. But I don't think we're going to find anything. So what's in here? Yeah, see, Detective Asumo is on the case. The cow is in the nether. I repeat, the cow is in the nether. Oh no, have I got any ender pearls? I haven't. Do you know what? We're going to have to go for a swim, because when we come back through here, guess where we're going to be? Oh, up in this place. And that means I've got to move around the portals in the nether at some point. So many things to do. Look at the farm over there. Doesn't it look glorious? I don't see any animals over on that grass. That's something else we're keeping our eye on. Anyway, let's swim back to the main island. So here we go. Hey, look at that. Chickens, and they're laying eggs. They've been there for a while. So we are getting some passive mob spawns. Not as many as I would have liked to have seen. But there you go. It may take a while for us to figure everything out. And that's it. I think it was just those chickens. It looks like they spawned in a group of 4. And a cow and a sheep. Amazing. Is that 2 sheep? Yes, we got a cow and 2 sheep as well. Excellent. That is all a good sign. And now you can see the edges around here are also chocolatey with the dirt. I don't know why I do this stuff. It was pretty tedious, actually. And I was just thinking, you know, it's typical of me to do this. I was thinking, let's keep the original contours of the land around the outside, so that when we, you know, cover this over with slabs, it kind of represents the original island, which just means I have to do more tedious stuff like that. I mean, I could have filled it in with something else, but I decided to fill it in with dirt, and there you go. And there it is, behind us, in its glory. Oh, we can't see it now because of the water. Let's take a step back. Bam, look at that thing right there. Absolutely amazing. Do hope you have enjoyed today's episode. I've really enjoyed building this thing. It's been pretty crazy. We've got a lot more work here to do. And if you have enjoyed it, please leave a like. As always, thank you for all your support on these videos. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask one down below. One of the other common ones that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video was if Enderman were to place grass on any of this. And Enderman on our server, thanks to a little command block module that we got that was made by Ease, they don't put grass blocks anywhere because they can't pick up blocks. On the last world that we have, Hermitcraft 2, a lot of the terrain got destroyed over time because we play on these maps for a long time, and you know the Enderman basically griefed the world. So we disabled it in this one, and so that's not going to be a problem. Anyway, as I said, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.